Owen Hart was a master of pranks and infectious laughter, but his life took a tragic turn when a stunt went horribly wrong. It was a moment that shocked the world and forever changed professional wrestling. Get ready to hear the heartbreaking story of how this wrestling icon met his untimely death. Owen Hart was a well-known Canadian-American wrestler who competed in big leagues like the WWF, where he also went by the names the Blue Angel and the Blue Blazer. Born in Calgary, Alberta, he was the youngest of 12 kids in the Hart wrestling family. His parents, Stu and Helen Hart, were big names in the wrestling promotion world. Owen had a pretty successful wrestling career. He won the USWA Unified World Heavyweight Championship once, became a two-time WWF Intercontinental Champion, snagged the WWF European Championship once, and was a four-time WWF World Tag Team Champion. He even clinched the WWF King of the Ring title in 1994 and was known for his great performances in the ring. Everything was going perfectly until one day everything came down south. But before we get into it, make sure to like and subscribe. On May 23, 1999, during a live wrestling event in Kansas City, Missouri, the wrestling world was shaken by the tragic death of Owen Hart. The event, called Over the Edge, was meant to feature Hart in a high-flying stunt where he'd be lowered into the ring from the arena's rafters. Playing his character, the Blue Blazer, a sort of clumsy superhero, Hart's entrance was supposed to be both dramatic and comedic. He'd be lowered down, pretend to get tangled up, then accidentally release himself from the harness to land in the ring. Unfortunately, the stunt went horribly wrong. While being lowered, Hart fell 78 feet and landed chest first on the top rope, causing fatal injuries. This all happened while the arena lights were dimmed and a pre-recorded video played for the audience, so no one saw the fall. The live crowd was kept in the dark about the severity of the situation, as emergency teams rushed to help him. On the air, announcer Jim Ross had the difficult job of telling viewers that this wasn't part of the show. Owen Hart was really hurt. Despite immediate medical efforts, Hart died from his injuries, specifically from internal bleeding caused by blunt force trauma. He was only 34. The decision by the WWF to continue the event after such a shocking incident sparked a lot of controversies. They took a lot of heat for not stopping the show, and it's something that's still debated today. They never released that particular pay-per-view for home viewing, and when they later added it to the WWE Network, they edited out all mentions of Hart, except for a brief memorial at the beginning. The next night, the WWF aired a special episode of Raw called Raw is Owen, dedicated to Hart's memory. It was a touching tribute, with wrestlers sharing personal anecdotes and performing in his honor, making it one of the highest-rated episodes ever. The aftermath of Hart's death saw a long legal battle between his widow Martha and the WWF, which ended with an $18 million settlement. Martha used some of that money to start the Owen Hart Foundation, helping people in need, which was a beautiful way to honor his legacy. Martha has remained a staunch critic of wrestling safety practices and has fought several legal battles with WWE over the use of her husband's image. In 2010, she even sued WWE for using Hart's likeness without proper permission, a case that was settled out of court. Although we lost a gem, his legacy was indeed phenomenal. So why not learn a thing or two about it? Owen Hart, born on May 7, 1965 in Calgary, was the youngest of 12 kids in the famous Hart wrestling family. Growing up in such a big family, you can imagine the house was never quiet. His mom, Helen, was American, and his dad, Stu, was Canadian. So Owen ended up with dual citizenship. The Hart family was a mix of Greek and Irish through his grandparents, and his dad also had Scots-Irish, Scottish, and German roots. From the start, Owen was surrounded by wrestling, but believe it or not, it wasn't his first choice for a career. He really tried to make it in other fields, but somehow wrestling kept pulling him back. He got his start in amateur wrestling back in high school and kept at it through college at the University of Calgary. Funny enough, he even wrestled incognito as the original British Bulldog during university to keep a low profile. His professional wrestling career kicked off in the mid-80s. He trained in his father's famous Hart Dungeon and started off wrestling in Canada and the UK. His big break came when he teamed up with Ben Bassarab, and they snagged the Stampede Wrestling International Tag Team Championship. People started really noticing his talent, And he picked up a Rookie of the Year award in 1987. Owen didn't stop there. He took his wrestling gear to Japan, where he became the first non-Japanese wrestler to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. That was a huge deal back then. Even with success in Japan, he was just getting warmed up. By 1988, Owen was ready for the big leagues and joined the World Wrestling Federation, now known as WWE. They introduced him as the Blue Blazer, a masked superhero character that matched his high-flying moves. While he had some wins, he often found himself up against bigger stars, where he didn't always come out on top. After a stint away from the WWF wrestling around the world, Owen came back in the early 90s. He teamed up with various partners, including his brother-in-law Jim Neidhart and Coco Beware, but the real drama started when he began a feud with his brother Bret Hart. This wasn't just any rivalry. It was brother against brother, full of intense matches and emotional drama. Their steel cage match at SummerSlam is still talked about as one of the best. Throughout the 90s, Owen had quite the roller coaster career. He teamed up with Yokozuna to win the WWF Tag Team Championship and later formed a dynamic duo with his brother-in-law, the British Bulldog. Owen even picked up a quirky nickname, the King of Hearts, after winning the King of the Ring tournament. He really knew how to entertain and keep the crowds hooked. Tragically, Owen's life and career were cut short in May 1999 during a stunt that went wrong at a pay-per-view event. His passing was a huge shock to everyone and left a big hole in the wrestling world. But Owen's legacy lives on. He was posthumously inducted into the Legends Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2011, a testament to his impact on the sport. Outside the ring, Owen was a family man. He married Martha in 1989, and they had 2 kids together. His story isn't just about wrestling. It's about following your passion and making the most of every moment, both in the spotlight and at home. It's a reminder of how unpredictable life can be, but also how much one person can achieve with talent and determination. Owen Hart's story really hits hard, doesn't it? This guy wasn't just a phenomenal wrestler. He was a family man and a legendary prankster who brought so much life and laughter to those around him. His untimely passing was a shock to everyone, and it definitely changed wrestling forever. But through the Owen Hart Foundation, his spirit of giving is still making a huge difference today. If Owen's journey from the wrestling ring to his lasting impact touched you, why not stick around for more? Hit that like button. If you found this story as moving as I did, subscribe for more deep dives into the wrestling world and smash that bell icon to stay updated. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Owen's legacy or any memories you have of him. Just drop a comment below. Thanks for watching, and let's keep the conversation going about the legends who've shaped wrestling. What's your favorite Owen Hart match? Let's talk in the comment section below.